Hi, everybody. It's June 1st. We made it. Yay. I keep saying that like it's some kind of accomplishment that we get to the next day, the next first day of the month. But lately it just feels like it. Lately it feels like, oh, who even knows where I'm going to be from month to month. Still fighting with my property manager. Still not evicted, which is good. I had a case management hearing about my complaints about her harassment of me. And it's absolutely amazing how the neighbors can stalk me, give me death threats, vandalize my property, and yet the property manager does nothing about it. She says, oh, it's a civil matter. It's not a civil matter, it's a criminal matter, and she can do something about it. She just chooses not to. And in case you also haven't been watching the other videos on my channel, I appear to have some kind of poltergeist. So maybe, there we go. That's a little better. And I still don't have a tripod. I don't like holding my phone while I do these reviews, but unfortunately I don't have any way to kind of prop it up and still be visible in the frame without everything else around me, so I apologize. But yeah, there's been a lot of shenanigans this month, a lot of fighting, a lot of just frustration. But we did make it. We made it through May, and that's something to cheer about. Now, I do want to touch base on what my plans are for the coming months. So this year, I don't know if you've sort of been following along, but each month I've tried to have a theme, and I've tried to make everything that I read something related to that theme. But I'm finding that I'm just not okay, I'm not succeeding. I'm failing at it, and I don't want to fail anymore. So I know that sounds bad, but I always start the month with all these plans. I'm going to read, every week I'm going to review a book by blah blah blah, and it just never seems to work out. So I think moving forward, I'm still going to try theme months, but I think each month I'm just going to choose one. I'm going to do regular reviews and then choose one author from the particular theme. So this month is June, and June, of course, is LGBTQ plus month. So you can look for that in the future. I'm going to try to find the work of an author that I enjoy that maybe I haven't checked out before, and I'll try that for this month. Will be an LGBTQ plus author. I mean, if I decide to read more, do more reviews, that's perfectly okay, but just not trying to do something every week because I'm just finding I'm not getting enough done, unfortunately. So on that note, I would like to finish up my Asian American or Asian month by reviewing a book by a Japanese author. The author's name is, forgive me, Kanae Minato. I apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly. And the novel's called Penance. The author is a former economics teacher and housewife, and she apparently wrote her first book between household chores. The book was called Confessions, and it looks like it won several awards and was adapted into a film, so I'll have to take a look for that. Now, Penance is apparently her second novel, and it's more a mystery story than a horror novel. And it's told in, first of all, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's more mystery than horror. It's told in a sort of epistolary style, where each section is a story on its own, and it's told from the point of view of each of 5 different women. And each one tells a story, but it's related to every other story. So it's really cleverly constructed. And rather than a sort of Rashomon style where everybody's talking about the same event, although that comes into it a little bit, it's not just all different versions of the same scene, but what happened and then each girl's response to it and how it affected her life for the next 15 years. So the premise, and I'm going to give you a spoiler warning here. At the end of the 4th grade, this group of girls, 5 of them, they were playing together, and a stranger talked to them. He said, oh, he needs some help doing something in another room, and they all sort of, they all wanted to help out, but he decided to choose this girl, Emily. Now, they live in a very small town, and it's apparently the town with the cleanest air in Japan. And so this factory has just recently moved in, and Emily's father is the head of the factory. So there's sort of a contrast between the girls from the smaller town and the girl from the big city that comes in. So there's sort of a class conflict there. So Emily's kind of the newer girl, and so they all say, they all kind of state their case about who should go and help this guy, but he decides to pick Emily. And she goes off with him, and they're playing with a volleyball. They're just kind of bouncing it around, and they realize after a while that Emily's not back yet. It's been, quite a long time. So they go into the change room, or like the next room at the school, and they find out that she was murdered. And they all try to give their statements and talk about what happened, but none of them can really clearly remember the killer's face. So, and it's a holiday weekend, so he really could be anybody. It's a holiday weekend. Everybody's got family over. There's all kinds of traffic in town, and they can't they can't find the guy. So he's never caught. Now it's told, like I said, it's sort of an epistolary style, and it's told as if the subject is talking or writing a letter to somebody. And through the course of the story, we find out that they're talking to Emily's mother. And Emily's mother, about 3 years after Emily's murder, she gathered the girls all together. And in her grief and anger, she threatened them. She says, she's going to kill them if they don't bring the murderer to justice. She'll kill them all. She'll wreak her revenge. And she gives them 15 years, which is the statute of limitations. The statute of limitations is 15 years from the date of the murder. And so each of these stories is being told in the present day, 15 years later, because the statute of limitations is running out. And we find out, of course, that none of these girls have been okay after Emily's death. And each one, and again, spoiler alert, each girl ends up killing someone herself, as if by killing someone, then she'll have to go to jail and serve, make up for Emily's death. So it's a really clever premise, and there's light themes of country versus city and sort of the economic rich versus poor, social manners, things like that. But it's not really heavy-handed. It's a good mystery, and it keeps you reading, and you want to know what happens to these girls. And I'm always interested in stories about what when you read a crime novel, you read a lot about, the killers and less so about the victims. But a crime affects a lot of people around. Even people you wouldn't expect to be affected by it can sometimes be. And this book takes a look at that effect, that ripple effect that happens in a community when something really tragic and terrible happens. I took a star off because there's a little bit of a twist at the end that at that point was just kind of, oh, come on. So I didn't really, it didn't seem necessary to me, so that's why I took a star off. But I give it 4 out of 5 stars. It's well paced. It's a pretty quick read because it's only like 160 pages. But I highly recommend it, if you want to have a nice quick read and find out what happened to these girls, because it moves pretty well, and the characters are really well drawn. Each one you believe is a very well-rounded person, and I admire that in an author that can draw characters that just seem like real people. They seem like the person that you went to school with, or the person that you see on the bus, or what have you. So again, that's Penance, and the author's name, forgive me, sorry, I wrote it down because I'm terrible with names, Kanae Minato. So check it out. Hope you're reading lots of great horror. Have a great day.